Well, early assessment is, as a coaching staff, certainly pleased with the progress and certainly the improvement that this group has made from the first quarter to the second quarter of our first exhibition game against Crookston to the first and second game of our exhibition season to then obviously Mayville. I was nervous about Mayville. Mayville right now is ranked 22nd in the top 25 in the NAI level and certainly deserve that. They shoot the three very well. Very pleased with where we're at, where we're striving to get ourselves to defensively, and it's something that I had made mention on my press conference call with the Summit League, is that that's where I wanted to see our greatest improvement, and certainly we're on task. A lot of work left to be done, and looking forward to this weekend, first road trip with a young team, talking a lot about it and how we can carry over what we're doing and how we can prepare ourselves to the best of our ability on the road to be ready to play Maine and Harvard, which are going to be two very good opponents for us. Maine's going to be very similar to Mayville in terms of a lot of 2-3 zone young kids that are a year older, and Harvard's going to be a lot of what we had last year. Of what we saw last year, and so two little contrasting teams, but pleased so far with how we're making progress with this group and the contributions of each player at this point.
Coach, with such a young team, being familiar with these two opponents as a coaching staff, does that make the lessons a little bit easier for you to teach those kids?
It certainly does, and like Saul said, this time of the year, especially these next 2 weeks, with obviously going out to the East Coast and returning to then have a game next Wednesday at home, and then going to Milwaukee on that Saturday, there is a lot of preparation taking place, and certainly again with a young group. You want to simplify it, and yet you don't, because you want to make sure that they're well prepared for what they're going to see, and that's what we've done. We've thrown a lot at these kids, and the teams that we've played have thrown a lot at us too, because they've been experienced, and so they've been able to move their playbook along a lot faster than we have, and I'm just fine with that, because our kids have done a nice job of really responding to some things. And so Maine certainly is a team I don't know anything about outside of obviously having read about them. Really young last year, only won 4 games, but that was last year. I'm sure a bunch of hungry kids that are back and ready to be better this year. And certainly Harvard, with the return of their players, they're probably not going to change a lot, and so it certainly helps with our preparation to understand a little about what they do more so than we would have if we hadn't played them last year.
Scoring the ball seemed to be a little bit of a challenge against Crookston, and then you score 113 points, or I think that's what it was, against Mayville. So talk about the ability to score the basketball. I mean, it's got to be a positive to see that much scoring this early.
Well, it is, and against Crookston, that was the first half of a bunch of young kids, including Brooke Lamar, who hadn't been on the floor for a whole year, trying to come out with the lights and the fans and everything that's entailed in that type of situation, and to be able to perform. And so, certainly, we're just the ball wasn't flowing through us. Early shots were happening, and certainly we're just trying to fill each other out. But then, boy, did we settle down in the second half, and then even to be able to be more consistent against Concordia, and yet against Mayville again, who played a 2-3 zone the whole game. And so obviously we had to put 3 days into really preparing our offense around, playing against a 2-3. And so I thought our kids did a great job of player movement, first and foremost, finding the gap, and secondly, being shot ready. And, 112 points is 112 points. But what I like is the shots that we were getting from the right players at the right time, and our kids were confident. We also are rebounding fairly well right now, too, which, again, no matter who you play, you got to pound the glass on both ends of the floor, and that's going to be huge for us this weekend on the road. Thank you.